both. I mean, I definitely like think it's fun to watch someone themselves for me. But like this is like men. Like I would never like want to do that to a woman.
Why is that?
Because I prefer women to
romantically
men.
Or
no,
in general?
just like as people.
Why is that?
Because I think, you know, I'm a woman. I think I'm more aligned with female values.
Which are what?
Being feminine, divine femininity. I don't know.
What is I'm sorry, I don't mean to ask you a million questions, but what is divine femininity?
It's just basically being like a boss, like just believing in yourself and having confidence and I don't know.
Okay. And you also you describe yourself as alpha.
Yes.
What does that mean?
I'm dominant, so I'm alpha in most situations. Yeah.
Okay. And going to your Twitter, thank you for providing that. You
Yeah,
call
of course.
yourself a fatal seductress. Mm-hmm. What is that?
I am pretty good at seducing men, and for some, it can be a very fatal attraction. Maybe not like fatal
Literally?
in the literal
Fatal?
sense, but I mean fatal to their finances, sure.
Well, we'll get into that actually, but you said you're pretty good at seducing men.
Yes.
So, isn't that just kind of the life of a woman?
I mean, I don't think all women like try to seduce men.
Well, but I mean, like, essentially you're saying I'm really good at getting men. But, like,
Yeah.
isn't that just the default setting for women?
I mean, sure, if that's how you look at it, yeah.
But, like, that's like a woman who says she has game and she's able to sleep with a lot of men. It's like, no shit. Any woman can sleep with a lot of
there
men.
are femcels.
Huh?
There are femcels out there, so
I actually don't even believe that's a thing.
I mean, there's plenty of people that identify with the femcel community. So.
Well, they
I mean, there's
identify.
people who identify as being dogs too. You know what I mean?
True, very true.
So,
Yeah.
I've seen them.
Yeah. So the thing is when he says femcel, so the opposition of incel. So the male incel, the way that it's perceived is they want to have a relationship with women, but they're not capable of doing so.
Yeah.
So they're trying to, but they're just not succeeding. They're striking out over and over and over and over and over. So when you say femcel, this would be the same exact thing applied to women.
Yeah.
But what Brian's saying is he doesn't think that there are women who, if they decided to go, for instance, and sleep with a whole grouping of various men, they're probably going to be able to do it if they chose to do it. Whereas if men choose to do it, they may not be able to.
I think it's all just like it depends on standards too. So I mean, some people have high
then
standards.
That wouldn't be incel.
Do you have that
Because isn't incel like
comic
if
cartoon
this
with
regardless
the
of their standards,
roses
they
Yeah,
just
and the
can't.
door?
it's like whatever,
Yeah.
they just can't do it. They can't close the deal, as it were, right?
Again, I mean, I think there's someone for everyone. So I don't know.
It's kind of like
That's
this.
a good question.
Go ahead, pull it up. I'm so lonely.
Right?
This is, I mean, that's what a femcel is essentially. But I mean, if we look at the actual terminology, so incel, involuntarily celibate, it's not clear to me if a woman just got on a dating app, even if she was remarkably unattractive, if she just made herself available for sex, she could get sex. It's not clear to me if that applies to like a remarkably unattractive man. If he makes himself available for sex, he's going to be able to get it.
Well, I can give you kind of an easy thought exercise for this. Let's say you take one of the most unattractive men that you've ever met and one of the most unattractive women you've ever met. You put a sign in their hand, and the sign just says, first car that pulls over, I'm sleeping with whoever's in it. Okay? That's the sign. The guy goes out with the sign versus the woman. Who gets stopped for first?
I mean, again, it depends.
Depends on,
A lot of factors.
okay, so, but I gave you the scenario of the ones that are the most attractive, you know, so we have that factor, right? We have the factor of it's going to be an equal amount of men probably to women passing them, or even more men than women. They're holding the sign, so we know what the scenario is. Inside of the scenario, who's gonna pull off for which sex more?
I guess women.
Yeah, women. So that's the idea behind why Brian's saying being a femcel likely isn't anything other than a standards issue versus I actually, maybe have no standards and still can't close the deal, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think there's outliers in every situation.
I agree. Look,
Sure.
I agree. I'm just saying that even if we take the outliers, I think that the outlier females would still be able to get some outlier dude to sleep with them, but that might not be the case in the opposite direction.
Fair
And then a
enough.
follow-up question on that, and this might not be the way you move, but if you were inclined, like you made a decision, you woke up, you're in a brand new city, don't know anybody. If you're in a brand new city, but you're like, I want to sleep with somebody tonight, how certain do you think you could pull it off?
100% certain I
100%.
could. I
Okay,
mean, that's
so
not really my
even
thing. but-
even good-looking men can't wake up and be like, I'm gonna a new girl today with certainty.
Right.
They don't. Even good-looking guys can't. They could maybe have 50-50. Who knows? No guy. Maybe some guys. Very few men. Even good-looking men can't definitively say, I'm gonna go out and I'm 100% closing tonight. Almost most women, if they were inclined to, could.
Fair enough.
Anyways, you said when it comes to the fatal attraction, fatal seduction, you're fatal for their bank accounts. Have you bankrupted any men?
Not yet, but I do have one that he's teetering on a very bad plane right now. He's not doing very well
Because
financially.
he's financially supporting you.
Not supporting me.
Or
I mean,
well,
I
financially.
bartend, so this is supplemental income.
But he's teetering, and that's part of his financial insecurity is part of the kink or whatever.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're I don't know, true to the practice, then you're not really going to want to truly bankrupt someone. And again, I mean, this is all consensual. So he has the freedom to close his laptop or block me or whatever if he really wants to.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do you associate a person who would be willing to bankrupt themselves to be mentally ill?
I mean, possibly, but again,
So aren't you kind of playing with mentally ill people?
I mean, we go over consent
How
and
can a mentally ill person consent?
I mean, I'm not here screening them for mental illness. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a
but
psychologist.
Do you need to screen a person for mental illness if they want you to bankrupt them? Doesn't that scream not well?
I mean, it's a kink.
Yeah, I get it's a kink, but you can understand that even through a person's perceived kinks, that would maybe be a good sign of mental illness.
It could be, but
Yeah.
that's really not my place to judge,
Well, I think it is your place to judge. If you're the one who says, "Send me the money" on behalf of your kink, and this could bankrupt you, who the hell else would be the judger here? Who else could make the judgment but you?
I mean, if they voice that opinion to me,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, and if we have a good relationship, but again, some of these guys will approach you and then just fuck off for months, years. Sometimes they'll never come back. So
Sure.
it's
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I'm talking about this specific case.
Mm-hmm.
Got a guy who's teetering on the edge of bankruptcy.
I mean, I don't force him to send me any
I
money.
understand you're not forcing him to, but what I'm asking you is, if you have somebody who has the perception, at least a perception of mental illness, and you allow them to do thing X on your behalf knowing that they're mentally ill, how are you not responsible for that?
Well, I mean, then we'll have a conversation about that. But he has never come forth and said, I'm mentally ill. Again, it's a kink. So,
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to teeter on the edge of bankruptcy on purpose because it makes you fucking get off, right? Wouldn't that be a sign to a normal person that that person's not well upstairs?
it could be.
Just not to you?
I mean, again, it's really not my responsibility to be monitoring someone's mental health. Again, if they bring it up to me and if they tell me that, this is enough, I've had enough, cool. You know what I mean? But I'm not going to sit there and baby them. This is a kink, a consensual kink. We're both adults.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's I'm pretty sure a lot of people in the BDSM community would qualify for mental illness. You know what I mean?